and I'm getting him at plus money. Are you kidding me? Lock this in.
I'll take Webb for 100.
Oh my gosh.
Yeah.
It is hard to believe, but indeed we have arrived. It is the final week of the regular season on the PGA Tour, and as always, we are here, your golf betting show of record. We like to call it Cash Out with the Coaches. I am the coach. He is Travis Fulton. Trav! Hello, sir.
How are you?
Good.
I'm good. Just, another day, another week. Wyndham Championship, getting ready for the playoffs here. I enjoy this week. Lots of names, on the line there. I mean, weird to see Rickie Fowler on the outside looking in. Weird to see Kuchar barely inside. Weird to see Adam Scott. I mean, some big names that we've been accustomed to. You take them for granted, but here they are. I think Rickie Fowler is the biggest name. Can he muster up a little something here? We've seen signs. We've seen some signs, but can he move it forward? We'll have to wait and see.
Yeah, it's that weird week where, and I also feel like we're kind of in the evolution of golf right now. There's a lot of players that are being pushed out, whether because of age, because they're not playing very well, whatever the case might be. But it's always difficult, no matter what the sport is, when some of your favorite players or players that you are used to aren't as good anymore or aren't where they are. And then all these new names are coming through. All these new names are saying, wait a second, I'm going to be one of these 125. I'm going to be one of these dudes that every year I am at the top of the FedEx Cup standings. So I think we're going through that. And the names that you've already mentioned, the Fowlers of the world, the Kuchars of the world, the Justin Roses of the world, those high-level guys that just aren't playing high-level golf anymore. But one guy who is Abraham Ancer.
Ooh.
Abraham Ancer. We got to give him a tip of the cap for winning his first ever PGA Tour win last week in a three-way playoff with HIDEKI, Matsuyama, and Sam Burns. And if anybody watched that, Trav, the way it finished, the fact that Harris English got it to 20 under par and then gave 5 back on the final 9 holes to not even make it into the playoff. It was an incredible finish. Congratulations to Mr. Ancer.
Yeah, it was weird. We've seen some meltdowns, really. You think about some weird stuff happening. Guy that has won this tournament this week, Wyndham Championship, JT Poston, and what went down with him a couple weeks back, hitting it out of bounds and that late melt. There's just been some strange stuff, down the stretch. And I put the Harris English Bryson DeChambeau round on a Sunday way up there. I mean, you just get 2 high-level players like that. It looked like 10 handicaps coming down the stretch trying to break 40 for crying out loud on Sunday. Guys hitting it in the water, airmailing greens, double bogey after double bogey. And all of a sudden, someone's tapping Abraham Ancer on the shoulder and say, you might want to go warm up. What for?
I think all 3 dudes they were at the airport, I think. All 3 guys were like hanging out at Signature Air. Oh, wait, what just happened?
Yeah, right.
When HIDEKI finished, and then Sam Burns, by the way, made a by the way birdie on 18.
The only birdie.
Yeah, at the time people were like, he's not going to be around, but that gets him into second place or third place. Nobody thought that 16 under par would make it into a playoff. That was crazy. Yeah. That 2 guys, the level of Harris English and Bryson had it to 18 under par, and he gave 5 back. So that was one of the most remarkable falls from grace in a 9-hole stretch for 2 guys that I've ever seen that were in the final group.
Yeah.
They were in the final group. It was nuts. But for Ancer, how do you feel about the fact that he finally broke through after so many close calls?
Well, I mean, he deserves the win. I mean, you hear a lot of he kind of got lucky there, and he did to some degree, right? I mean, you're just not going to see 2 guys of that caliber come back like that very often, if ever. And But I think Abraham said something that was pretty interesting. He said, look, I've been second 4 times, and I've played really well down the stretch coming in. I've done enough to win, and then someone does this thing or this weird thing, and they get me. So it's like you play long enough, you put yourself in that opportunity enough. You're going to have some things where it doesn't go your way. You don't get the bounce. Someone does something out of the ordinary, and then you're going to have one the other way where you backdoor in and you seize the opportunity. So look, it weighs itself out. Abraham Ancer is a wonderful player, and he deserves this win. And keep in mind, Abraham Ancer was at the Olympics too. So he's coming in on fumes like we saw Xander Schauffele and others, and he's got to play extra holes to win this thing. It's pretty cool. I was pretty pleased to see Abraham Ancer, 5'8", 160 pounds, get his W.
Yeah, he's got to hit it. He has to pipe it every single time to be competitive. And you bring up a good point. My theory of fading Tokyo-bound players was actually pretty good. It was a pretty good strategy because a lot of guys were beyond on fumes by Sunday, whether it was Xander, you name it. They seemed to back up by Saturday and/or on Sunday. Look at Justin Thomas straight back on Sunday. A lot of guys. But now we have to start looking forward. And there's a lot of top names. There's a lot of top players that are not playing this week because they already have their spot in the FedEx Cup playoffs secured. However, this is always the battle for the bubbles, we like to call it. Who's going to be getting in? Who's going to fall out? And why it's so important this year, Travis. Last year, we didn't have this. This was a wraparound super season. There was no, hey, you have to go to the Korn Ferry playoffs. This year, they do. And it's never been more important to get into the top 125 than it is right now. It's $15 million. You've got to get as high as you can in the regular season playoffs. So take people through what they can expect this week and the type of player, Trav, that you think plays well on this golf course.
Yeah, so Sedgefield Country Club, Donald Ross design. Again, a pretty easy course. You see these stretches of difficult golf courses like you see in Florida, and then I think as we get into the Midwest and into the summer, you see some courses where guys can really go low and they get into that 20 under mark, which we saw last year with Jim Herman. JT Poston won here in 19. Sneds went low in 18. Pretty easy course, par 70, short, 7,100 yards. I do think a bit of a premium here. Playing from the fairways is not a complete must, but close. You've got to keep the ball in the short grass. You can do that. Strokes gain approach is certainly one, but strokes gain putting has moved way up here 1A. You've got to make putts. Last week, I talked about TPC Southwind. You can win there and not be positive in strokes gain putting, as we saw JT do.
Wow.
The year before. This week, you better make some putts. You got to be in that +4, +5 strokes gain putting. So 1 is approach. 1A is strokes gain putting, fast Bermuda greens. Certainly, I think right underneath that is getting the ball in play with some fairways. Around the green, I push it down because, again, if you're depending on your short game here, you're going to get lapped, right? Like you've got to be giving yourself ample opportunities, taking advantage of that. So, that's where I kind of, start with it. And then I think you have to look at the 8 par 4s that are between 400 and 450 yards, which is fairly short for PGA Tour. And then you look at the 2 par 5s, which are all reachable. You're going to see a ton of birdies. You're going to see some eagles here on these 2 holes as well. So I think you have to take that in consideration and proximity with the wedges, that 150 to 175 yard mark. Those are a few of the things that you start running the model and you start seeing these names that have performed very well here at Sedgefield over the years.
I make it very clear that I do not like par 70 golf courses. I never have. I don't. I just like seeing guys go for it in 2. It's just something that I've never liked. But I'm not playing. I'm only covering this particular sport. To give people an idea of how much a season, how much a career can change, all you've got to do, Trav, is look back to last year at this tournament. 4 holes to play. Jim Herman was outside of the cut line by 4 shots. He birdies the last 4 holes on Friday just to make the cut. Then he goes berserk over the weekend, and he wins this tournament. He was 192 going into the last week last year. 192. moved all the way up to 54. And now with only 3 playoff events instead of 4, that was paramount that he would get into the second week because of this week. That's how important this tournament can be to somebody. That's how big a win is, that you can jump up 140 spots. So with that being said, let's get into it, because we have a lot of handicapping, and very difficult handicapping. I believe this is the hardest week of the year to do, because everybody's got something different they're playing for, Trav. What do you think, outside of getting into the playoffs, that players are looking at this week that they need to have clicking heading into what I call a really quick race of 3 weeks in the playoffs?
Well, I mean, I think you can answer that question a few different ways. You've got guys that are just trying to get in first and foremost. That's, and then you have a number of guys who are going to be in, and they're just playing to try to improve their position, right? Like the Louis Oosthuizen, who's playing every week, Patrick Reed, who's playing every single week.
Yeah, a lot.
So these are guys that don't want to go home and be with their wife, or B, they're just trying to, anyway. You get my drift.
Yeah.
So, these guys going into the play, it's another week, right? And I think it's another week to get out and play fast Bermuda greens. And if there's some things that you need to clean up and improve upon, I think there'll be some players trying to maybe do some of those things in this kind of tournament, because they're already in before heading into next week. So they have their best foot moving forward. Look, you got to have everybody's DNA, and the thing that they do well in their golf game can be a little bit different. We've got guys that, are great ball strikers, maybe struggle putting. You got guys that are great putters, but maybe struggle ball striking. So you're trying to, make sure, I think, first and foremost, the strength's intact, but continue to elevate those other parts of the game that are holding you back, because as you get into the playoffs, you want to be clicking on all cylinders. So it's another week. It's kind of a different kind of week, because some are already in and secure, but they can improve upon that position. Others trying to just get in. So I think there's a little bit of that going on. But then I also think that on the other side of it, there's just guys that, it is what it is. It's just another week, right? Like it's another week. I'm going to come in. I like this golf course. I think this golf course, you see some people here, and you'll see them in my picks, that have, horses for courses that have played very well here historically over the past. So they got to like their chances coming in here and putting up some good scores. So I think it's a bit of a mixed bag on the net effect of what is kind of a weird week on the PGA Tour before the playoffs.
And I think to the points that you're making, for people at home, they're looking at this from a betting perspective. You got to be very, very careful. Understand the players that you're betting on, what they have to accomplish. Because what Travis is saying, there could be a player that says, you know what? I want to work on my driver this week. No matter, I don't care what my score is. I just want to work on my driver. I want to work on my 3-wood, or I want to work on my wedges, or whatever it is. It may not be to win this golf tournament, or it may not be to finish top 20. And that's crazy to say, but that's how some of these guys approach it when they already have their goals intact. So just be careful and understand the guys you're playing. So with that being said, let's get into our picks for this week. Here's what we do each and every week. We have 5 different picks, a fictional $100. We spread it out over those 5 picks, 2 head-to-head matchups, a top 20 selection, a winner, and then a wild card play, which could be anything on the board. So, Travis, give me your first head-to-head matchup that you love this week. And this has been a spot that we have just been crushing it here on the show.
Yeah.
Keenly hitting 3 of our 4 picks every week.
Yeah, on a run here. A heater in the matchups. First one, Cody, put it up there. Who we got? Jason KOKRAK, minus 110 over Patrick Reed. Look, Reed's playing a lot of golf, and there's
a lot.
Late into the Olympics, he looked fatigued, didn't look, real clean and great over there. He comes back, didn't play well last week. I don't know. I kind of feel like what's going on here with Patrick Reed. Now, he's had some pretty good form here at this place, but I just think Jason KOKRAK's a better player right now, and that's kind of what I've been defaulting to. I'm looking at these odds and I'm looking at these head-to-heads, and I'm like, who's the better player right now? And I'm giving up 10 cents for KOKRAK over Reed. I just think KOKRAK right now does more off the tee. I think his approach game is solid. And Jason KOKRAK could be as good a putter as Patrick Reed right now. I mean, Jason KOKRAK has taught himself how to become a really, really good putter on the PGA Tour. He lengthened out his putter. And since doing that, the dude's won twice. He's up there all the time. I think this is a good place for him. I need a little length off the tee in the fairway. I need a good approach game. I need a good putter. Hey, I could see Jason KOKRAK winning for the third time here.
Yeah, and guess what? Jason KOKRAK was not in Tokyo playing in the Olympics. To me, this is an easy fade. An absolutely easy fade. With everything that Patrick Reed has done, the one thing he has also done is he has gone backwards as the week goes along. The great thing about the WGC is that there was no cut. So when you played a guy, he had a chance to come back if he didn't play well on Friday or Saturday. That's not the case this week. I think this bet, Trav, could be over on Friday.
Okay.
Even though Patrick Reed loves this place.
Write that down. Win Saturday morning.
I think it's a win by Saturday. I really, really do.
I love it.
All right, I'm going to go to my first matchup of the week. There's also a guy who played really well here last year, top 5 placement here, over Charles SCHWARTZEL, former Masters champion. But KISNER is a bulldog, literally and figuratively, and he loves weeks like this. Famously said, hey, they pay a lot for top 20s everywhere. You know what I mean? But this week, all I need him to do is beat SCHWARTZEL, who admittedly has been playing much better golf this year. But KISNER lately has been really picking up his game, in my opinion. And I think this is a week that he will pinpoint as a week that he can really do a lot of damage. I love this number, plus 100. Lock it in.
KISNER was tied for third here last year and struggled early in the year, has picked it up a little of late. This is interesting. I'd probably go with SCHWARTZEL over KISNER, but SCHWARTZEL's been damn good this year. I mean, I'm always open for a head-to-head bet with Travis Fulton. I'm down a couple $100. Let's wait on it. Let's wait on that one. Let me chew on that one for a minute. Let me chew on that one just for a little.
All right. Chew away, but come back to me on it. All right, give me your second.
I've got you one here. I think you'll like this one.
All right, give me the second one.
Yeah, I'm gonna say Fowler kind of steps it up here a little bit. Minus 120 over MACKENZIE Hughes.
Yes.
Look, Fowler, does he need to be inside the top 125? No, he doesn't. He's gonna be fine playing next year. I think he's got another year, maybe 2. But look, Rickie Fowler finishing outside of the top 125 is like what? That doesn't even compute a year or 2 ago. So I think he gets in. I think he plays well. I think he gets inside the top 125. You look at him this year, he's shown some signs. At the PGA, he was 8th, Memorial 11th. Last 3 times we've seen him, he has made the cut. He goes 32nd, 53rd, 34th. I think the most optimistic piece with Rickie is the putter seems to be back. Okay, so the putter seems to be back to what we've seen out of Rickie Fowler in the past. The ball striking, I still think it's fair to say, is a bit of a question mark. There's been some signs here and there in the approach game. I think the putter still remains a little bit of an issue. And, fast Bermuda greens, Rickie Fowler back at this place. I think he's done okay here in the past. MACKENZIE Hughes, I think Rickie steps it up. Give it to me, minus 120.
Yeah, I feel like the longer you talk, the more you're trying to convince yourself that this is a pick that you really want to make in the show. That's just my gut. That's my gut. I don't know how confident you are in this pick. So
no, I mean, if people watch this show, they know that I can, I'm looking at it. I'm looking at it from every angle objectively. But in the end, the head-to-head matchup picks we've been unconscious.
We've been unconscious. All you got to do is be one guy.
Mark it down. Minus 120, Rickie Fowler. Go bet it.
It's the bread and butter. You got to have head-to-head matchups if you want to make money in golf betting. There's no other way to do it. I don't care what anybody tells you. If you try to make parlays and top 20s your bread and butter, you're not going to be playing with us very long. All right. Here's my second head-to-head matchup. It was a little something like this. Now, this is a late ad, Trev. Hideki's not going to play here. And for whatever reason, he decided to go from the Olympics to Memphis. And somehow, if you talk about heartbreak, imagine if you pay placed, easy for me to say, a live bet on Sunday on Hideki. He started the day 9 back. It was north of like plus 15,000. It was crazy because he was almost 10 shots back. And then he makes it into a playoff. And if you were smart enough or crazy enough to do that, then you lose in a playoff. How demoralizing would that be? You can taste it. But this week, we're tasting it head-to-head over Webb Simpson. People might call me crazy. This is like a second home for Webb. But he's not been playing well, did not play well last week, and I don't think he's going to play well this week. And Hideki's finding his game. Hideki is now, and I think it's the reason he added this event, is because he realizes that the way he's playing right now, that he can add some more points when the top players are not playing. So maybe he can get a little bit higher up that leaderboard, and we know how important it is at the Tour Championship with the staggered start. That's why I believe he's playing this week. I think he's motivated, and I'm getting him at plus money. Are you kidding me? Lock this in.
I'll take Webb for 100.
Oh, my gosh.
Yeah.
I have never been more confident in a pick than this bet right here. Ladies and gentlemen, an official cash out with the coaches head-to-head play. Travis has Webb Simpson. I've got Hideki. The winner gets $100. That's our normal bet size here at the show. And you said it with like all the swag and shoulders back and bowing up to me. I feel like you're really confident in this bet.
I am. Webb's he's almost 100%. He shot 66, or excuse me, shot 64 on Sunday last week. Silly bogey coming in. I mean, he's only finished second, third here the last 4 years. I mean, excuse me.
I know. But I don't consider a round when it's barely more than playing on Sunday morning with your buddies. I don't look at that 64 as anything great. I look at what he's done the last few weeks, and his game just isn't there. But we'll find
he's been
out.
Hurt. His neck.
I know.
You know he's been 100%. So I look at that Sunday as positive.
Oh, okay. Then maybe he's feeling better. Then maybe the next feeling better.
And I didn't want to go there, but I'm going to bring out the Rolodex. Okay. I didn't want to go there today.
Oh, my gosh.
I reached out to my sources. Sorry, his caddy. 90% last week.
He's been on the
90%
show.
90% last week.
Oh,
Webb's coming. God. Webb's coming. I'm buying Webb stock into the playoffs.
Okay. I mean, I'll let you make all the phone calls to Paul Tesori you want. It's not going to change the fact that Hideki will blast him this week.
See, you don't like that bet now.
No, I love it.
No.
I love the fact you feel like you have to have insider information to beat me on a bet. That's what I know. And that's okay.
That's okay.
It's okay. You got to use anything at your disposal, sir.
Separations in the preparation.
I love that. I'm going to steal that. All right, let's move on to our top 20 selection of the week. Travis Fulton, who do you like?
Hey, is there a guy more under the radar than Seamus Power?
No, there is not.
Dude, this guy's got a complete game, folks. He is really developed into a nice player. Now, I know, albeit the Barbasol is not the best field on the PGA Tour, and he got his win there and benefited from the meltdown of JT Poston. But he was 8th at John Deere. He hasn't finished outside of the top 20 since the middle of May.
It's incredible. He's on
a run, man. I'm telling you, he's a very good iron player. He's a very good putter, and his driver has become a bit of a weapon too as of late. So I like Seamus Power. I think he's one of the best players in the field right now. And at plus money, 180, I was like, what? Okay, sign me up.
It is one of the great stories of the year on the PGA Tour. And the fact that he was able to get the win will take the pressure off of him. But was he even really feeling the pressure, Trav? Because when you have a red number next to your name with 12 weeks to go, and then you start doing what he's done, top 20 after top 20 after top 20 after top 20, to move himself in and then to win in Jackson, Mississippi, that showed me all the cojones I needed to see from this man who's literally his career was on the line. And he was able to step up and control his destiny now with that win and now he's got that 2-year exemption, and he's fine. Love this play. Love how he's playing. Plus
he was a name that I looked at the beginning of the year, and he missed the first 3 cuts of the year. And so he got off to a very bumpy start. And then he played in Puerto Rico, finished 22nd. And then he just kind of went on his way. He kind of just started to play and I think relax. And he's been very solid. Very clean across the board. I like him a lot. I like his game. I think this could be a good spot for him. I mean, look, top 20. I don't need him to win in the top 20. That's where he's been living the last 3 months in every tournament he's played in. So why not?
And here's the problem too, that for a long time, he made a lot of people a lot of money this year because you had him in head-to-head matchups against guys that nobody knew. That's kind of how the books do it. But now that he's won, they're going to move him up into that next category.
Right.
So be very careful if you're doing head-to-heads with Seamus Power. You may start to see him head-to-head against Spieth or Rory, and you go, I'm going to jump all over him. Be very careful because he's really, really good. And I think he's going to make people a lot more money down the line too. But
I put win money on him too.
I think it's smart. I think it's smart this week. I really, really do. All right, my top 20, and this is the reason I didn't tease you about your Rickie Fowler pick. Is because I also
I knew there was a reason.
Yeah.
There it is, folks.
There had to be
Top 20. Goodness gracious.
I like him this week. And at plus 20, I'm trying to match the history of how good he is on a normal week and with what he needs to do. The reason why we've never talked about Rickie Fowler missing the playoffs is because it's never happened before. He's one of those, when they show that full screen Trav on TV and says, oh, these are the 7 guys that for the last 15 years have made it to the FedEx Cup playoffs. His name has always been on it.
Yep.
And now he has a chance not to be on it. To me, that's motivation enough. And this week, I think, is Rickie Fowler's comeback party. I like him at 220.
Yeah, and to your point, he's never had to play here. So I think the last time Rickie teed it up here was back in 2016, where he finished 22nd. So yeah, there he is. The Wyndham 22nd back in 2016. So he hasn't been here much, but I think, the putter's back, folks. And that's a good thing. That's a good thing. And Rickie's played in pressure, big situations. So I think he responds. I like it. I like it a lot.
Cool. All right, let's move on to our winner play of the week. And this is also one of those weeks, Trav, where you can look at a really big number and say, can we cash it? We've seen it recently with Cameron Davis. Is this going to be the week that we see somebody north of plus 2,500 take it home? Who do you like this week?
Well, you're always looking for some odds. And here's another guy playing to get into the playoffs. The difference with this guy is he got to win. How about that?
Tasty.
Tasty. He's got to win to get into the playoffs. And all right, I'm in. Plus 2,800. I'll bet it. Will Zalatoris, he took some time off there. He played in the Rocket Mortgage. And then we hadn't seen him since. Played St. Jude last week and played nice. Hit the ball good, and he putted good. I think that's the biggest thing is he was just under +4 in putting in Memphis. So now we roll over here, some more fast Bermuda greens, an area that he knows, I think a type of grass that he knows very well, played on over there, going to Wake Forest. So I like this part of the country. I'm okay with the pressure. This is a big league player. He's been close. He's knocked on the door winning. He finished the second at the Masters. Let me remind you, for crying out loud. So why not? Let's see. I think it'd be cool. I think it would be, outside of Rickie winning, I think this would be the second biggest story you could have in golf, is Will winning and getting in the playoffs.
It will be justified. That's exactly what he deserves, to be in the playoffs. This is one of the more remarkable, fascinating stories that you can have outside of a really big name doing something, is the fact that you have a guy who would be top 15 or 20 in the current standings if he was eligible. And the reason he's not, for people at home who may not know, is because he's been playing on, he has a special exemption PGA Tour card, but he doesn't have an official PGA Tour card. And in order to do that this year, he has to win. Now, once the new season starts, he'll have his PGA Tour card. It's kind of a weird rule, and you don't see it very often because most players don't do what he was able to do this year. They just don't. And that's why you don't see it very often. But it would be an incredible year. It would put full circle on his year. I love this play. Plus 2,800 too. Not a bad number, Trav.
Not bad. Yeah, not a bad number. So he'll be ready. He's rested. I think that's a big thing. And he's in the part of the country that he knows well. I think this is a good spot for him. It really is. This is a very good spot for Will Zalatoris to go out and win, and give me that positive 7, 8, 9 strokes gain approach we've seen from him, which is like Morikawa numbers, like we've seen it from him a few times.
Well,
you match that.
He's going to go flag hunting. He's going to go flag hunting. So
and
it's
you match that
really,
up.
really, yes.
You match that up with how he putted last week, he wins.
I agree. I think it's going to be all or nothing. I think that's what we're going to see this week. All or nothing.
Yeah, I think he'll be aggressive. Yeah. Mm-hmm.
All right. My guy is a big number, but he's won here before. And he was really, really good here before. And just a few weeks ago, he did blow it to Seamus Power in Jackson, Mississippi. But that event and the way that JT Poston played there gave me some encouragement. And when he won here a couple of years ago, he was not on anybody's radar.
No.
Then I believe he went through the entire tournament without a bogey. And so if he can do that again this week and kind of in form, plus 6,600, that's worth a sprinkle to me.
Yeah.
Especially on a week where you can't look at there are no quote unquote top names outside of Hideki and WEBB. I mean, when you're talking top names, why wouldn't you pick somebody who you can get really good value on? Because to me, there is not a clear-cut favorite this week. There's just not.
I like it. I think it's a good play. I think JT has that gear. He's not afraid to fill it up. I mean, just a fantastic putter. One of the best putters on the planet. It's so funny. Like Will, we just talked about great ball striker. You wait for the good putting week. JT, great putter. You wait for the good ball striking week. And he's hit the ball very well his last 2 tournaments. Barbasol, obviously. And he hit the ball good at the 3M Open. So I like it. I think JT in good form was on the Stripe Show podcast last week, just in case you want to go listen to that. But I think JT clearly loves this place. He's all in here.
And just to reemphasize for those that may be new, just do a little sprinkle on a winner. Don't make a full bet size. Maybe make a quarter. Maybe at the most a half, but I would say a quarter. I usually if you're talking normal bet size is $100, put $20 on it or $10 on it. And if you hit, it still matters, but you're not spending a lot, which is silly when you're trying to pick a winner and it's so difficult. All right, we have made it to our wild card pick of the week. It can be anything on the board. What do you like, Trav?
I'll give you a name and then get a lot of talk. Ryan ARMOUR. Give you some odds, some value. You could play this one close to the vest. But I'm kind of with you, Coach. I pushed it out a little bit further. Weird week. Let's go to Ryan ARMOUR plus 400. Very good odds here, considering a guy really who's playing very well. I mean, hitting the ball well, very good putter. I think he comes in here, and I think this is a good spot for him. I really do. I think this kind of fits his game. 5th at the Barbasol, 6th at the 3M Open. He's had a couple other good finishes early in the year. Much like Seamus, he got off to a tough start early in the year. Had a little run there of missed cuts, but I think kind of settled in and now has been playing his good golf. And historically, this is where he plays his best golf. It seems to be in the meat of the summer, and it certainly showed that in July. So let's keep it going here, into Sedgefield where he's played well in the past. So I like Ryan ARMOUR plus 400, top 20. I'd be stoked if I could hit this one. $15 on it.
I would be too. Now he's a plotter, and plotters play well at this golf course. He's a guy that doesn't hit it very long, but is dynamic with his iron play. And you've already very well laid out what you need to do to play well on this golf course. And that matches up perfectly with who Ryan ARMOUR is as a player. I love this play. Love it at plus 400. All right. Final pick of the show. I'm going to go back to an old faithful. He has been dynamic all year. Has had kind of an off few weeks. And I think quietly Brian Harman will get back on his winning ways this week. Don't like the minus 115 number. Not horrible. Don't particularly like it. But I think this is a week where he cruises into like that top 10. But I'm making it a top 20 because I'm tired of getting screwed on Sundays when I'm conveniently inside the top 20 and I slide out with a bogey on 18. Or
Shane Lowry last week. Top 20. Nice little T21, T22. It's like, come on.
So frustrating. So frustrating. Some books will allow you to play a top 30 or a top 40.
Right.
And that's become very, very popular in the golf betting.
Sometimes.
Yep. So I'm going to take Brian Harman, lock it in top 20.
Yep. T6 and 19, T27 and 20. So Harman will be probably a lock to make the cut, knocking on the door. Guy can fill it up. He's a brilliant putter and Georgia Bulldog. So he knows a thing or two about these fast Bermudas.
Well, all right. As we head into it real quick before I get your final thoughts, I think it's offensive that the PGA Tour has tried anything in their power to get more players to play in the year-ending tournament. They've added this. I can't remember the sponsor. It's CompUse something. But basically, it's a huge pot of money that they give to the top 10 guys. And like none of them are showing up for this event. It's like they don't even care to jump into first to get $2 million. It's if I'm the sponsor and I'm putting out that money, which is about $6 or $7 million, I would have to seriously think twice about it unless they can figure out a way to get the top players to show up. Because that's the whole point of doing it, to get better players to show up in this event. And it's not happening, Trav.
No, it's not. I mean, they're so well paid anyway, right? It's all relative. I got X amount in the bank and you're offering me X. Let me think about that. No, I won't show up.
Well, remember that Rory famously was asked about how important the FedEx Cup was several years ago and basically said 10 million it doesn't really do it for me. But all of a sudden 15 does. All of a sudden 15 looks really, really nice. But that shows where some of these guys are. Justin Thomas, who I believe is number one in that, or Harris English might be. But I know for Justin, who recently made $22 million in a season, you throw $2 million extra at him. Does he care? Does he care? And that's a sad state of affairs. They've got to figure out something else going down the line to get better players in this event. If that's their priorities.
If that's their priorities. But I like the Wyndham in that, this is to get into the playoffs. In many ways, it is the playoffs. Look, these top players can't play every single week. You had the WGC last week, the Olympics the week before that. You just can't have them play every week. You got to have these weeks that have perhaps a little different initiative and meaning. And I think the Wyndham does. I think the Wyndham is in a good spot to get into the playoffs. And it is the playoffs. It is week 17, right, of the NFL. I got to win to get in kind of thing, right? So, and I think that's just kind of what it is. Week 17, the NFL, they sit a lot of starters because they're already in, right? So it's like, that's just part of it. So anyway,
you're right.
Sedgefield.
You're right.
Yeah.
You're right. You're right. Right. Maybe there needs to be a little more incentive on top of that. Who knows? I don't know. But I think they're very, very close to getting the entire scenario right when it comes to the playoffs. And that's what I care about.
I do too. I think they are close. I think the playoffs are going to mean a lot this year. I really do. I'm excited for it. I always love seeing the best players play. You can watch it 3 weeks in a row. That's huge. The Ryder Cup is out there. Harris English could have got himself in the Ryder Cup lock if he would have won that thing. And, so I think there's some guys jockeying for that. Finau needs to pick it up, if he wants to be on that team. There's a lot of those stories, right? Like we could go on and on about these stories about the Will Zalatoris, the Jason Kokrak's. Can they get on the team? What do they have to do? The guys that are already on there, the Brooks and the Brysons and those kind of things, that's a little different. And they'll be jockeying to win this thing. But I think the Ryder Cup out there on the other side of it, there's a lot of interest here going into this and playing well, not only in the playoffs to keep going and perhaps win the 15 million, but to get on the Ryder Cup team in September.
I cannot wait to do a special show on the Ryder Cup, which we plan on doing.
Yeah.
But also, I want to see if Steve Stricker has the guts to not follow suit and just say, well, the 8th, 9th, right? Pick the guys that are playing the best. Shake it up a little bit. What they've been doing the last several has not been working. So who's going to be the guy that steps up and says, I'm going to change how we do this for Team USA? Is Steve Stricker going to be that guy? That's the question. I can't wait to discuss it because we don't need the usual suspects on the team anymore. They haven't been getting the job done. We need these new younger cats mixed in with the veterans. And I'm interested, Trav, to see if Steve Stricker, it's not in his personality to do that. It's not.
No.
We'll see if Tiger in his ear can help a little bit. Other guys in his ear can help a little bit. But if the team looks exactly to where it was 2 years ago, 3 years ago, they're not going to win.
There's a lot to think about there. I mean, if Will wins this and gets into the playoffs, now all of a sudden you start talking about him. Is it Harris English or Will Zalatoris? That's kind of an interesting conversation. You know,
really
KOKRAK wins his third. I wouldn't put it past him.
He deserves to be in. 3 wins in 7 months on the PGA Tour.
It's crazy. Yeah,
and you're not on the Ryder Cup team? Come on.
Yeah.
Come on. He deserves to be on it over a lot of the top guys.
Mm-hmm.
You know, right now, I don't want to throw any names out. We're going to wait for the preview show.
Yeah, we got plenty of time.
Yeah.
To talk, playoffs, Ryder Cup, and that's going to be fun. You know, we're in a nice spot here, folks. Still got some great golf ahead. Starting this week, Sedgefield's it's a beautiful place. Going to yield a lot of birdies. You got some names there. Going to be some interesting jockeying going around. Rickie Fowler winning would be the biggest news in golf for sure, but I think Will Zalatoris winning would be right behind it.
All right. Well, we'll see how it's all going to play out. We love doing the show every single week. Shout out to our partners and our sponsors at SportsPub Media as they continue to build their business, and we certainly want to build it with them. So for Samantha and Cody and our entire team at SportsPub, he's Travis Fulton. I am the coach. Remember, if you're going to cash out every single week, why not cash out with the coaches? Good luck.
Yep.
Hey guys, what's good? This is the coach. You may know me from PGA Tour Live, the Golf Channel, or even ESPN. I wanted to interrupt this YouTube video real quick to tell you how to get the best and most entertaining golf betting content every single week, and it's all for free. It's called Cash Out with the Coaches. I've teamed up with legendary golf instructor Travis Fulton, and he's also a PGA Tour insider, to bring you the unscripted, unfiltered PGA Tour betting talk and analysis. All you have to do is subscribe to SportsPub's new channel, and you'll get access to our Cash Out with the Coaches show before every single PGA Tour event. You can also play along with the coaches, too. We don't hold anything back on this free show. And all you have to do is subscribe to SportsPub's channel with the button on the video, and you'll have access to every single show. Trust me, you don't want to miss it. Can't wait to see you on the channel.